Natural 6!
Hello, everybody. You join us for episode 12 of our ongoing adventures in the world of Reliquiae. Let's say hi to our heroes.
Hello, I'm Aoife Wilson, and I'm playing Dolly de Winter, the Tiefling Bard.
Hello, I'm Alex Jordan. I'm playing the Kobold Rogue.
Hi, I'm Doug Cockle, and I am Kellnis, the Dragonborn Druid.
Hi, I'm Hollie, and I'm playing the human fighter Castle Grēnweard.
What?
Yes!
Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm playing boring wood elf wizard Radiant Form.
Also, we all said playing, except for one person who said is.
Yeah.
You inhabit. You are
The embodiment of
Kellnis.
you are.
It was fun. I was sitting there as we did the first two thinking, you remember how we used to find this quite tricky? And then suddenly we just like hit a difficulty
some
curve.
of
And
us
that's brilliant.
did.
That's very true.
Yeah. Come on, safe pair.
You've never fluffed. Oh, by the way, I'm Harry McEntire. I'm the others.
Sorry.
This is what normally happens.
Yeah,
you reward us for doing this bit, and then you forget to introduce
But
yourself.
I'm a lot of fun. I'm a lot of fun.
You're very giving.
Thank you so much. That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
It's actually the nicest thing you've said all day.
Yeah, it is.
Actually,
You've been a
yeah.
horrible
He's
boy.
been
Yeah.
we went to
today,
bed late
actually.
last night, all of
Yeah.
us, is
Yeah.
the problem. So we're a little grouchy.
He's hardly talked to me at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You've been sent to Coventry.
I heard nothing.
Well, I mean, given the spirit of collaboration, should we play some Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, drama!
Yay!
Oh, I should say before we start, we have not one but 3 dogs in the room today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a lot of
Genuine
dogs in the room.
Last time, you began in the Distow Woods on the borders of Mouse. Endellion, bringing the party up to speed on the series of trials that awaited in the tunnels before you could enter the Grēnweard Keep via the cellars. When the others questioned how she would have such knowledge, she told them that rather than possessing any privileged information, she was merely a native of Mouse and had learned some things in her years living there. Not entirely satisfied, you settled down to rest, the night passing without event until Kellnis, alone in the dark, decided to investigate the deck of cards that Radiant carries. An attempt to take them silently from the Wood Elf's pack roused the trancing wizard, but he allowed his companion to open the pouch and study the deck. Searing pain passed through the Dragonborn as he began to see names appear on the cards before they faded again. By now, the entire party were awake and looking on as Kellnis closed his eyes and attempted to attune to the deck, whispers and the sound of water growing in his head. Next, he spoke to the cards, but the druid felt another surge of pain and, having received no answers, returned the deck to Radiant's pack. The next morning, Endellion led the party to the base of a great tree, and moving rocks aside, revealed a seam that ran through the center of the trunk and led to a spiral staircase. You all descended, entering a series of natural caves filled with the sounds of running water. Endellion led you through the caves and behind a waterfall to a space where the Grēnweard children had made bunks for themselves in fissures in the rock. Once more, the others questioned Endellion on her knowledge of these caves, but she remained steadfast in her refusal to entertain such inquiries. You reached a great door, Endellion using her dagger to open it before you entered a chamber that housed a great mass of red glowing rock covered in limb-sized holes. On approaching it, I, the character, not the me, realized that fierce heat was emanating from the rock, and Dolly spotted letters carved into it reading, "How much can you bear, how much can you sacrifice?" Radiant placed his hand into one of the holes, enduring searing pain and choosing to take close to his max HP in damage, though a failed Constitution saving throw caused him to fall unconscious. As he did, a hollow circle of flame appeared in the far wall, a section of it filling with fire as Radian sacrificed himself. The rest of you all placed your hands into the rock, I also falling unconscious as he was overwhelmed by the pain, and with Dolly's final contribution, the flaming circle was completed, the glowing stone cooled as you gained access to the next chamber, and you were able to revive Radian and I. Within, you found a stone grid on the floor of a long, narrow chamber, a single letter carved into each slab. After experimenting with various spellings, magic missiles, and bouncing wildfire spirits, you eventually identified that a series of stalagmites and stalactites in the far end could be lined up to reveal a series of letters, ASATO, as strong as the oak. Endellion, knowing that this was the first half of the Grēnweard family motto, completed the phrase with as free as the forest, AFATF. Stepping on the stones bearing these letters allowed you all to pass through the chamber, the far wall opening up as the puzzle was completed. In the third chamber, what appeared to have once been a trap that would cover the intruder in birdseed and set wild birds on them was rendered less difficult, with the birds long since having died. A chamber beyond was different to those you had encountered before. A constructed room of mid-grey stone blocks, and then the far wall moved. A stone golem standing before you. You soon realized that your attacks had little effect on the creature, and that there seemed to be no way out of the chamber. A clutch use of Bestow Curse from Dolly prevented the golem from attacking, and attention turned to Endellion, the rest of the party reaching the conclusion that she was the disappeared Grēnweard sister. Despite the appeals of her companions, Endellion would not budge, continuing to wait for the golem to attack before she played any cards she may have. Still, Dolly, I, Radian, and Kellen continued to do all they could to convince Endellion to reveal the truth of her identity to the golem, Radian attempting to use hypnotic gaze to make her more amenable to the idea. He failed. But Endellion, enraged by this act, told the stone golem that she is the family Grēnweard. And as the golem knelt and crumbled to dust, a passageway into the wine cellars of the Grēnweard keep was revealed. The party, tested by infighting and mistrust, approached a wooden door, hearing voices behind it. The door was thrown open by a woman wielding a dagger and holding a hound at the end of a leash. On seeing Endellion, the dog leapt up, a puppy again, and began to lick his former mistress's face. And that's where we are now. Endellion, as Dutti paws on your shoulders, licking at your face, excited, tail wagging, a frenzy of activity and energy and joy, you keep looking at your mother.
It's that kind of reunion obviously you never thought you would have, and I think when it's something that's that intense, you would just say the dumbest thing possible. So I think she'll, try and get Dutti to calm down, and I'd just look at my mother and say, Kellen forgot to feed the birds. Kellen, the birds that was not really, they're dead.
And she puts her hands down by her side, and she looks at you and says, well, you must be hungry. And then she just turns away. And the rest of you see who else is in this room. There is on a table, there is a human with a little brown beard, he looks like he's fed well and has lived a gentle life. And he is having his ankle strapped with a bandage, braced with a bandage, by a lady with a beautiful long blonde hair, quite angular features. Endellion, you don't recognize this lady, but everyone in the room is staring at you. And then the human reaches his hands and goes, I can't believe it. I knew it. I knew you'd be okay. Oh, she's good. And he makes the sign of the flame with his hands. He says, she's good. And he puts his hand on the lady who's tending to him, and he says, this is Eowyn. This is your sister-in-law. And this lady with the blonde hair, she says, Eloan. Yeah. Oh, but how? Oh, by the flames! How did you do it? How are you here? Who are these? And then he sort of clocks that your mother, Lesota, has just gone over to the far side of this kitchen and is just cutting chunks from a loaf of bread and busying herself with making plates of food up for the 5 of you. The 5 of you are still stood in the doorway. Well, I can do that, Lesota. You spend time with your girl. She, and he tries to kind of get himself off the table, and as his ankle hits the floor, he's like, actually, Isolde, would you?
You know what? Let me do it. I'm going to go over and take the knife from her mum and just, without saying anything, I'm just going to busy myself because this is very awkward for me. So I'm just going to
roll perception check as you do that.
That is a natural 19 for a dirty 20.
Her whole body is shaking. But as you get to that, she's cutting bread in front of her, like on a worktop with a wall in front of her, and she's just staring at the wall, just making these cuts. And as you put your hand over the knife, she just lets you take it and stands there, still staring at the wall.
I think this is as awkward as it can possibly be. But I don't think she'd necessarily want to go over to her mother. I think you're so standoffish. She knows that this has been hell, essentially. The whole point was I'd never come back, and you're back from the dead. And it's been a very, very long time. So people are starting to heal somewhere along that journey, and then you just reappear, but also at a time where it's not great what's happening at the estate anyway. So I'm actually just going to take a seat at the table with the other 2.
Okay, so there is this sort of table in the centre of the room.
I senses this awkwardness and sees Dolly go over to help with the cutting and just thinks, I have to busy myself, and goes over to the blonde lady with the bandage and goes, I can do this, and goes to take the bandage to start bandaging up this random stranger's ankle.
Roll me a medicine check.
That is an 11.
An 11. The bandage has been completed, and you unpin it, you unwrap half of it, and start to wrap it again, and the human goes, oh, careful, as you're like trying to do it, and you've seen, there's like a vague crisscross pattern that you've seen, but essentially you just do a crisscross pattern, and it goes all the way up the leg, stopping somewhere above, like in the mid-thigh.
This entire time, because I'm trying to be very polite and pleasant about this, I'm not even really looking at what I'm doing, I'm just looking him in the eyes, and then the blonde lady in the eyes just smiling, going...
And Kellen sees this and goes over to I and says, I, you're doing it wrong.
Please, big scale.
Roll me a medicine check, Kellness.
24.
You've tended to kind of all kinds of wounds and minor maladies. You know a lot of the properties of herbs and all sorts of stuff, but also you've in your adventuring past and in your life before, you've walked a lot. You know how to deal with shin splints and sprained ankles and, dodgy knees. And so you wrap it, and as you start to wrap it, you see this, you see that this little goateed, slightly portly human relaxes. Oh, he puts his hand out and says, I'm Roos. Thank you. That feels a lot better, but I like you training the boy up. I think it's lovely. Learning at your father's knee.
My eyes just looking and goes, yes, this is what I was going to do.
And Endellion, this blonde lady who you've never seen before, who you've heard her called Isolde. She walks up to you and she puts her arms around you. And she's tall, she's probably 3 or 4 inches taller than you. And she puts her arms around you and gives you the kind of hugs that people don't tend to give in this castle. And she says, this is going to make him so happy.
And I'd actually hug her back because Endellion is still quite family-led, and I'd probably just whisper, which one?
Eden.
Eden? Okay.
Roll me a history check.
That is 17.
Okay. Suddenly it kind of pings a little in your head. You know the name Isolde. There's a nearby town called Yannick. And your families are kind of similar status. Her mother is the reeve there, the kind of regent, if you like. And you vaguely remember a kind of gangly, long-limbed, blonde girl who would sit at the big sort of family banquets when you'd all... and she, despite her, that kind of gaucheness that you have as a teenager, there was something quite elegant about her, despite how she was at that age where her limbs didn't really seem to fit her body. And you place it that she's the daughter of the Reeve of Yannick.
Yeah, I think again, it's that small town mentality, and it just makes complete sense. But yeah, I'd be happy that, I guess I'm happy if Eden is happy.
And then Isolde turns and looks at your mother, who is still next to you, Dolly. She's just shaking, looking at the wall. And Isolde says, she'll come around.
Yeah, she will. She will. Just not force it. Just give us some space.
They are going to have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, people.
I have some questions.
Yeah, questions seem to be the running theme for me recently. Turns out I'm not always very good at answering them. You keep cutting bread.
And eventually, Dolly, you've cut bread. There's there's like a stew that's on the stove that's kind of keeping warm. And as you finish cutting the bread, Elowin's mother, Lesota, sort of in an automatic gesture starts to fill wooden bowls of soup and just places them at the table, still staring into the middle distance. And then she looks up at the five of you and she says, "Hey, well, you better eat something."
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
Kellen means. Oh yeah, spoons.
I haven't here today. I've just left it outside.
And then who sits down and who starts to eat? Who's still kind of standing?
I sit down. All right.
Kellner sits down. As the rest of you don't.
I'll sit down.
Dolly sits.
I'm gonna look at the human sat in front of me and go, does you know of a high chair?
Well, they must have something for when they were little uns. Let me. And he looks down at his ankle again and sort of very, very gently tests it out and seems to not wince.
Points.
It's quite a big place.
Does you think you can walk?
I think I'd just gently put a hand on my shoulder. It's like, not right now, honey. Like,
I don't mind going to speak to Wilder and asking if he's got.
I grab a bowl of soup and I hand it to Eyes. I just sit on the floor.
I's very used to this and almost takes the soup and goes, thinking to himself, why did I not think of this sooner? And sits on the floor to eat.
Radiant?
So all of this has been going on and he's kind of just been standing watching. Because I know he's a little bit in shock. Very, very, it's that nervous anger, tension. It's this kind of like figuring out how to modulate that. And he's watching all of this going on and trying very hard to control what he's feeling. So he sees everyone at the table and just very, without anyone really noticing, just kind of sits and joins in. He's very much staying in the background of everything.
Endellion?
I'm kind of already sat, but I probably wager at this point I really don't want to eat. I'm just pushing food around a plate.
And Roos immediately looks over at you, not eating, and goes, well, the bread'll go stale really very quick. I can always cut you some more, but as soon as the air hits it...
And I just push it towards him.
That's fantastic, thank you. And Roos immediately starts, like, tucking in. And you feel a hand on your shoulder, and it's Lesota. And she says, I'd like to talk to you. And she walks straight out into the corridor.
I'm obviously being told off, so I'm going to get up and follow.
Can I have your suit?
And then I push myself towards Calnus.
And she shuts the door after you, but I don't think there's any need for us to leave the room. And she looks at you, and she turns, and you go into this... Everywhere here is so familiar, and nothing's changed. The same uneven brick flagstones on the floor. These are servants' quarters. They haven't been elaborately paved. It's quite unusual for your mother to even be down here, let alone be serving up the food herself. And you remember that feeling as a child of sneaking down the steps and knowing which bricks were uneven enough that they might give away your footfall if you were trying to get yourself food you weren't meant to be having in the middle of the night, or if you were trying to sneak past, and you remember those familiar echoes of that noise means they're going into the cold store, and that footstep and that echo means they're going in here. And your mother looks at you, and she bursts into tears, and you've never seen your mother cry. You've never seen it. And she has this one great, like a tidal wave, and then she sort of breaks and then immediately builds herself back. She puts her hand on your face and she says, "My baby." And then she puts her hand down by her side and she says, "Right. Lots to talk about. None of it matters very much. I'm glad you're here."
Yeah. It's nice to be home.
Right, well, you have to eat something. And she pushes you back into the room. I'd like you to give my girl her bowl back, please.
So it's not literally one bird in the hand and two in the room. Again.
I just don't understand how you has got the bush.
Well, no.
It's a metaphor.
Right, thank you. We'll get there, okay?
There's a schoolroom here. It should still be here. When we find time, we'll see what we can do.
I can't read.
No, but maybe we can find something that will help.
Pictures.
Pictures. We'll get you a picture book.
K is for kobold. And you see Endellion comes back in. She comes back in with her mother, who lights return to it, and it's as if a curtain has been drawn and none of that happened. And she says, "Right, you better tell me who your friends are then. You're eating under my roof. It's only right I should know your names.
The soup is very good.
And what is your name?"
Calnus.
Calnus, it's a pleasure to meet you. Looks to I.
I.
Yes?
No, Mum. That's his name.
I.
The kobold, not the... Yeah.
The eye.
Right, as in points
No.
at her eye.
We don't know.
Right, turns to Radian. Radian. Turns to Dolly.
Dolly
Pamela.
Winter. No, she's...
Oh,
Palmer, I beg your pardon.
no.
No, that's...
Forgive me, I don't think he's an authority on names.
Dolly de Winter.
Dolly de Winter. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Lesota. I am the lady of this castle. You are most welcome to Castle Grēnweard. You bring my daughter back, there will be time for all that. You tired from the road?
Yes.
Right, well, we can organise some rooms for you. You have some explaining to do, young lady. You have some people to say hello to. When you've eaten, I'd like you to go and say hello to your brothers.
Yeah, can't wait.
Isolt, at this point, says, I'll let you tell him yourself.
Excited to meet your brothers.
You has tribe.
It's quite a big tribe. You've You've seen one of them.
Who else meets more?
You're about to meet many more. I'm a little scared of what they're going to do to me.
What will they do to us? To we?
What they'll try.
You'll find out.
We'll be fine.
I does not like this.
Well, they have not thrown us in prison yet, so...
They're not going to throw you in prison.
You has a prison?
It's a big castle.
The prison is a big castle?
You know what? Why don't you have some more bread?
Any friends of Endellion's are friends of theirs, right, Endellion?
This is not an Endellion, this is an Elowen. We has an Elowen, we has a Pamela. I is very confused.
It's a running theme.
And so you eat your fill. And Lesota starts to kind of clear your plates up around you, like busying herself. She's very busy the entire time that you're here. This is sort of her, but sort of not.
Yeah.
And she says, right, well, Kellen will be in he'll be in the courtyard.
Guess I'm starting with Kellen then.
And she's gonna stay down here. You gonna head up?
Yes.
Would you like company?
You're welcome to join. You're welcome to look around the castle. I don't need company.
Do you want company?
Quite honestly, this is the last place I wanted to be anyway, so...
Enough said. I'm just gonna wander around the castle.
Okay. So who's gonna go with Dolly?
I'm going to go with Dolly.
And who would like to stay with Endellion?
I'm going with Endellion.
Okay. Radiant?
I'm going to go with...
You don't have to go with either of them.
I could go by myself.
Not if you're making...
Climatic items.
You're not going around my castle making noises like that.
Where are your goodies?
You are going nowhere around my home like that.
I'm going to go with Dolly and I.
So, Dolly, Radiant, and I.
So I assume from the way that we came in, the kitchen's quite low.
Yeah, so you're in the basement, you're in the cellars, you're underground.
I want to kind of get a lay of the place. I want to see what the layout is.
In terms of the kind of wider area outside. Okay, so you go out of the kitchen and you're in an unevenly paved corridor. Feels very much like the cellars of somewhere. Certainly you, Dolly, will have been in all kinds of places. Places of kind of high luxury and very low places. And this has been, what you immediately identify, this has been well maintained, this is well looked after. Lots of doors. Roll me perception checks, everyone. And in fact, just for a little flavour, not you, Kel, because you're not with them, you can roll with advantage because this is technically a sort of smell-based check.
16.
16?
12.
12?
12.
12. 16, like, this smells like somewhere where food is being prepared. Like, both Radiant and I can smell like baking bread, and of course so can you, Dolly, but you can also smell like that there's like curing happening here, like preserving of like meats and like, smells like a pantry.
I guess I'm looking for the real part of the place.
Away to your right, you can see a set of stairs that lead up into what looks to have a little daylight kind of coming in through, like casting on the far wall of those stairs as they turn the corner.
Yeah, I'd head to where the daylight's coming from.
Okay, so you go upstairs and you are in, immediately there's kind of great high ceilings, vaulted, carved from that kind of mid-grey stone that the chamber that you fought the golem was in. And there are doors open to your left at the end of a corridor, which are open into, you can see like a grand banqueting hall, flagstone floor, roaring fire in the hearth.
Endellion's from money.
Oh, does he mean Elowen?
We know her as Endellion.
I know you as many names.
Roll perception checks, the three of you. Go ahead, Dolly.
8.
I.
7.
12.
12. There's a lot to look at. There's torches in sconces. There's beautiful kind of skins and rugs covering much of the floor. Some of it's been strewn with reeds, which would be a very common thing to do in winter to stop people tramping mud in and out of the place. And there are portraits that you spot, Radiant. Portraits of often quite austere, sometimes very militaristic looking red-headed people going sort of all the way. And you can see, roll me a history check.
That is 19.
You can see as you chart the portraits, it's almost as if the it's long enough that the art style changed slightly. That there were kind of ways of making people look heroic that went out of fashion, and then new versions of heroism came into fashion.
It's funny, isn't it? How people want to be perceived.
Yeah. Like when people choose a name for themselves, that's usually the name that you should use.
I is using all the names you has.
No, it's just strange, isn't it? A place like this, you have all these portraits. Like, what was the person really like? This isn't who they were. This is what they wanted to be seen as.
Well, when you have as much money as they do, you get to choose how people see you. You get to write history for yourself.
I don't think you get to choose how people see you.
After the fact, you do.
Mm-hmm. And at the far end of the last painting, there is Dolly, a person you instantly recognize, who is Castle Grēnweard, who opened the door with you directly in front of him, back in the Council of Equals. And his painting, he has a Grēnweard family dagger strapped to his waist, and he has his hand rather than on a weapon, or rather than on horseback as some of these figures are, he has his hand on a stack of books, and he has his other hand on what looks to be a boy of about 10, on the shoulder of a boy about 10, with red hair in a centre parting, kind of floppy, almost like curtains. And he has the familiar narrow moustache. He looks the same, other than without some of those grey streaks that you saw in his hair.
So is this Endellion's dad?
Yeah, looks like it.
If she chose to run away from her family, and, I mean, I assume leave them forever, do you think they're good people?
I does not understand leaving tribe.
Well, no. You'd think someone would have a good reason, right? And all this portraiture, all this, grandstanding. I don't know. I just wonder.
We cut downstairs. Endellion and Kellen, I'll say you've had a chance to go ahead of the others rather than pass them on the stairs or in the corridor. So where are you heading?
Straight to the courtyard.
Okay. So you follow Endellion up the stairs.
At a
Kellen is-
respectful distance, and I'm just being a friendly companion.
Moral support. Like 2 steps behind me.
And as you go upstairs, you go into the corridor, and you go immediately outside the main keep into the courtyard, which is surrounded by walls. And it's cold. The first thing that strikes you is, you were kind of underground for a day, and then you've been in this warm kitchen, and you've passed all the corridors which have got fires and torches, and it's cold. It's a crisp day. The sky is cloudless and blue. And roll me perception checks, both of you.
I just realized something, Harry.
Go on.
Technically, I think I've still got Hank.
Oh. I mean, you could or you could not. I mean, if he was there back in the...
I never released him.
No, I mean, it's up to you. I think it feels like he maybe isn't there anymore because Lesotho probably would have noticed a little wildfire pine marten. But if it's important to you that he's there, he could have been on your shoulder. He could have been by your side.
No, it's okay. I just suddenly realized I never actually let it
dismissed
go.
him.
So
Right,
I
okay.
think I must have done that. So okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So roll me perceptions, the two of you, please. Endellion, what did you get?
9.
9.
13.
13. It's the that kind of coldness that stings your skin, makes your skin feel tight. And after the darkness of down below and after the darkness of the caves, as you look up to the sky and you look up to the ramparts, you can see sort of figures on the ramparts looking out. Endellion, you would know, looking out down the road that leads to Mouse. But beyond that, you kind of can't make out anything. These walls are about 30 feet high, great walls that encircle this keep. But you do hear a voice. You hear a voice calling out, yeah, I mean, sort of. It's like, you've got to sort of, like, as you pull back, I'm not explaining this very well, sorry, boys, and it's Kellen's voice.
I just want to watch. I just want to see what he's doing. I assume because it's Kellen, he's trying to train someone to do something, and he's not the best at explaining things.
So you kind of follow the voice round the side of the castle, and towards the smithy and the guardhouse, and to the training, the sort of little training area, fenced off. Always has lots of reeds strewn on it. Always. Trying to get sawdust and everything to try and make this a really sort of padded area. You have the wooden swords under the little awning and the wooden shields that people would train with. And you see he's narrow-faced, he's got a chin strap ginger beard and sort of tousled ginger hair. He's slender, much more follows your mum's build than he does your father's, who's a little bit more sort of substantial. It's where Derwin and the others get their height from, is from your father. Kellen has always taken more after your mother. And he's surrounded by what look to be 4 townsfolk of Mouse. And he has one longbow, his longbow, and he has a target, and he's trying to teach them how to shoot with a longbow. And he's saying, it's not like it's not miles away from a hunting bow. Well, it is like it shoots a lot further, and like basically what it's really hard to find. You kind of can't really describe it. It's easier to do it. I'm also aware this is like it's the only one we've got. Can you be careful with it, but I also don't want you to be too worried because you got to be a bit relaxed. Works better if you've had a drink, actually. And sort of laughs, and the 4 of them don't laugh. They're completely stony faced. And he hands his bow to one, and he's like, "You got never. Wait, if you pull it back, you got to bring it back in. Never fire it with no arrow in it. You'll just absolutely the vibrations go through the bow itself. It'll shatter." I'll find you an arrow, and heads to the awning where these wooden swords and wooden shields are. And he's sort of going through buckets, chucking little hammers and crossbow bolts, and trying to find an arrow. And they're all training arrows. They've all got terrible fletching.
I'm gonna go up, I guess, behind this person while we're searching. Take one of my arrows out and hand it to him.
And he just takes it without thinking, goes, "Thank you," and turns around and... No way. And then he looks at you and his hand goes straight, he sees Kelnis's hand goes straight to a dagger. And he draws it and he goes, stay back. Anyway, get behind me.
Endellion.
I'm actually laughing. I think the whole thing is utterly ridiculous. I'm just like, he's with me. It's fine.
And he puts the dagger back in his scabbard on his hip. And he looks at you, and his like, you can see on the beard, like his jaw starts to tremble a little bit. He's like, that's wild, man. That's absolutely wild. That's amazing. That's wild. And he puts his arms around you and gives you a hug.
Hug him back.
He's
Just
like-
as strong.
He's just bones, man. He's
Yeah.
always just been bones. One of those people who just like
Lanky.
can't try as he may, can't put on any weight. Just like not built for weight. But his grip is really tight. And he's the reaction is not dissimilar to Derwin, but fewer tears. Kellen's always been like, there's never worn anything too heavily. Like everything, he's kind of gone through life, never really trying that hard at anything, and everything's sort of falling into his lap. So his attempt to sort of communicate emotionally is very much, just keeps going, like, what? Sorry about the dagger. I can't. Like, and where you from? How you done it? That's wild. That's absolutely crazy. Dutty's gonna be so happy to see you.
He was.
You've seen him already.
He's not so dirty anymore.
No, he's not. He's massive.
Yeah, he's huge. Yeah, it's a really, really long story. It's been a really long time. We heard Mouse needed help.
You're here to help.
We're here to help.
How'd you get here?
It's a long road from Baroon. And the birds, Kellen, they're flying
Puts
birds.
his hand over his mouth. The birds. The birds. Oh,
Kellen, you have to feed birds.
The birds, I know. Oh, the birds.
I
And he
think-
looks more broken in the moment that he remembers the birds than he has at any point since he's seen you. And he looks at you, Kellen, and he says, you mustn't think badly of me on account of the birds. We've been under a lot of pressure.
I felt very bad for the birds. I like birds, but I understand.
You don't think they suffered, do you?
I think they bloody well starved to death.
Yeah, I don't. Tell you what, let's not worry about the birds. But that in the entire underground, the hell were you thinking?
Well, you've got to remember, we were very sad.
So you put birds in cages?
Wasn't even a good trap.
Well,
It was a fine trap, Kellen.
That's
It was a
hurtful.
fine trap.
That's hurtful. You didn't see it at its best, did you?
No, we just saw skeletal remains of what we intended.
Right, and the catapult? And you remember the catapult actually worked quite well. It was reasonably accurate.
That was good.
Right,
That
well,
was
that's-
good. That
all right,
was
that's
that
not-
bit was good.
Thank you for saying that. That's not nothing. Look, the effort went into the training of the birds. I admit the maintenance of the birds fell by the wayside. Oh, the birds. The birds.
We'll get you. You can get new birds.
That's
he
not.
doesn't get any
Yeah,
new
that's
birds.
not really the point. I actually agree with your angry friend. That's not really the point. He turns to the four villagers and says, "You know who that is, don't you?" And the four of them sort of look. Waste of time.
It's been a long time, Kel.
It has been a long time. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Forgot what Mouse is like in the winter.
And then we'll cut to to Dolly.
So it doesn't actually mean that you have to swing the cat. It just means that there's room to do that if you want to.
And I looks around the room and goes, there is a lot of room. Yes.
But don't actually swing the cat. Just imagine.
No, wait,
it.
I'm trying to get my hands around it. So what about the cat?
But I thought it was a dog.
Can
No,
you both,
no.
It was a very big
can
dog.
Radiant and I roll me wisdom saving throws, please? Go ahead. What's the damage?
4.
4. You're starting to kind of get it,
Yeah.
Radiant. No closer.
Listen,
No closer.
I love a metaphor. I love it, but I'm still not understanding why this one in particular. Just run through it with me.
It's just really big, so you could swing it if you wanted to.
But it's why a cat?
Well, I don't know, because cats are easy to swing.
Why are you swinging cats in the first place?
I've never swung a cat. I would never do that. I'm just saying.
It was a dog. And he gesturing back to the room they
No.
just came from.
It's a theoretical cat.
As you're in the
We're getting into theoretical.
This can only go well, right?
This is where Schrodinger came in.
As you're in the corridor, looking at still kind of near these portraits, trying to understand wordplay, a door opens and an elf, arms full of papers, long silver hair that's receding, sort of going ever further and further back from the front of his head, in green robes, very well tailored, a little bit of silver trim around the hem. As I say, arms bundled with papers and vials of ink and quills. Opens the door and jumps, seeing the three of you.
Hello.
Who are you? Who are you?
Do you knows where a cat is? They wants to make a point.
Who are you?
Never mind. Who are you?
I think the more pertinent question is relating to you, strangers in this castle.
Oh, we're friends of the family Grēnweard.
And
We're
you
just-
is
we're
also
visiting.
stranger in this castle.
No,
Hello.
I am steward of this castle.
Hello, Stuart.
That's not their actual name.
Like Dolly. Like Pamela. Stuart.
What are you doing here?
Oh, just passing through.
Roll insight. Go ahead.
All of us?
Yeah, you can roll with disadvantage, I think. Radiant?
5.
5?
17.
17. Go ahead,
That would be 2.
A 2.
Oh, no, wait, sorry, hold on. No, 5.
Fancy
Wow.
boy.
Fancy boy, that's what proficiency does for you, baby. It turns a failure into a failure. Dolly, he's about to call for a guard. I mean, there are 3 people who he's never met inside a castle that is currently under siege.
You know what? We're getting off on the wrong foot. I apologize. We've come to help. We've come with I guess Eoin Grēnweard.
What? Mm-hmm. That's not possible.
Yeah, I assure you that it is. She's downstairs in the courtyard right now.
Show me.
Sure. Follow me, I guess. And your name is?
My name is Aaron.
Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you. This
Aye.
Right.
Getting off on the wrong foot is a metaphor.
Yes, also a metaphor.
Okay.
And are you going to lead him out to the...
Yeah, I guess.
Great. You head out into the courtyard, and you can hear an excited voice. You hear excited voices from round the corner. He head that way, and...
I'm actually going to gesture for him to go, but I'm not
yeah,
going to...
okay, and you gesture and sort of point him in the direction of where Endellion is. And what do the three of you want to do?
How many doors have we got off this place?
Well, at the moment, you've gone outside of the main castle entrance, and you
Okay.
are now in a courtyard.
Oh, so we have gone out into the courtyard.
Yeah, so there is a
fully.
keep in the center, which is where you were before, and then there's a perimeter wall, and there's a sort of courtyard is probably not quite the right term, but there is essentially an area that goes an outside area that goes around the keep, but is still inside the walls.
Can I see a route to get up onto the walls?
Yes, absolutely, you can. There are sets of stairs that lead up. To
I
the
would love
walls.
to go and see. I would love to try and get up on the wall and do a little look over and see what's outside the walls.
I'd like to do that too.
Okay.
Cautiously.
As Dolly goes to do that, I want to put a hand on her shoulder to pull her back. Because I would like to have sidle up and go, when are you going to tell them about the bag?
When the time's right.
But that's why we're here, right?
Yeah, but I mean, let's let Endellion have her moment first. There's no rush.
Okay.
Are you going to stealth up the walls? Are you trying to sneak around here, or are you just sort of
No.
walking up but keeping your heads down a
This
little
is
bit?
my friend's home. I'm just gonna walk it.
I am aware that it is under siege, so I think I'm going to try and keep my head down a
Okay,
little bit.
I will say that it's a different thing trying to go undetected with to someone on the outside of a wall as it is to.
What time of day is this?
It's the morning. It's well, yeah, I guess it would probably be late morning, early afternoon. I think you set off at first light. You probably set off first light in the winter would be what 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I guess, or 7 o'clock in the morning. You then went to the tree. Probably took you an hour to get to the tree. You then went down into the caves, and you were down there for about 4 or 5 hours. So it's probably, I would say, it's in that case, it's probably early afternoon. It's 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you make your way up the stairs towards the outer perimeter walls of Castle Grēnweard, trying to keep low. And there's very clearly a gatehouse. Are you trying to kind of go up to where the gatehouse is, or there are 4 towers on the points of the wall? It's a sort of rectangular.
Honestly, my
perimeter wall.
immediate thing is to turn to Dolly and go,
Can you shows me on the other side of the wall?
Yeah, sure.
I want to just look over the wall.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
What do you say?
An 8.
An 8. With an 8, Dolly is kind of having to hold you up into the crenellations, and Dolly is not very strong.
Nope.
And so rather than getting like a good look, you're sort of bobbing around a little bit and sort of disappearing.
My clothes are kind of doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah, like clothes are kind of going up and down.
And Radiant goes up and tries to like steady them.
Okay, and now you can roll again and you can take the highest result.
That's 1. Does he get advantage? Oh, no, right.
It's just on this one.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay, so Radiant doesn't help because he kind of joins he adds his momentum at the wrong moment.
Whoa,
So
whoa,
what
whoa,
he's
whoa,
done-
whoa.
So what I is doing is essentially one of those wibbly wobbly inflatable tube who's sort of flapping around these little kind of scaly arms going, "Whoa!"
Why are you flailing around? I'm trying to hold you.
I thought, guys, should we not just climb the tower and have a look from up there instead?
I just goes, what?
This is why you're not the leader.
You can see with an 8 that there are like structures and you can see there's smoke.
I relay this information quite loudly.
Just gonna put him down and go try and get a higher vantage
Okay,
point.
so we are looking at as you're sort of looking at it, you've got top left. You got sort of you're near the gatehouse at the moment. You're in between the gatehouse and the bottom left tower. So that would be your closest tower, the southwest tower. Is that the one you want to go up?
Yes.
Can you roll me? Can you please roll me a d4?
3.
Okay. You climb the tower, and as you get to the top, you see, as you reach the height of it, you come out onto a little parapet, and there is a man sleeping against the crenellations with his back to the crenellations. He has red hair, center parted. He has a really quite patchy moustache, and he is wrapped in a green cloak, and he's asleep. And as you come up next to him is a huge guy with a ginger beard, and sides of his head are shaved, ginger hair in a long plait. Even against the cold of winter, he has got no shirt on. He has leather straps across him, fur on the fringes of his of a cloak, and he has a great axe. And he
you're
wants, he
quite
goes,
large.
"What the fuck are you doing here?
Okay.
Who are you?
Whoa. We're friends. We're here with
You're no friend of mine. How'd you get inside this castle?"
with Elowen. We're here with Elowen. She's downstairs.
It's like it's like someone's cast hold person on him. The other guy wakes up, sort of reaches for a blade at his hip. By this point, the big guy has kind of got up and is stood in front of you. He's probably the biggest human you've ever seen, and he seems to be like rage-filled as soon as he stands, and he has stopped. He's stopped moving, and then after all, he goes, "What?"
Downstairs.
Roll me insight checks, the three of you. Dolly?
12.
12.
6.
12.
12. Your eye is immediately drawn, Dolly. Your eyes are immediately drawn, Dolly and Radiant, to the reaction of the one with the red. They've all got red hair. The one with the little moustache. Soon you'll learn their names, and this will be easier. He doesn't look shocked at all. He puts his eyes down, and he stands up and he puts his hand on the shoulder of this big guy. Has to reach up to do it, even though he's a pretty substantial guy himself. Puts his hand on his shoulder, and this bare-chested one turns to him, and the one with the moustache just nods.
He already knew.
And he's not even taking you, and he's not even looking at you. And he looks at the other one. He says, "I'm sorry that I couldn't tell you." And he puts his arms around him and he holds him. And the other one is like shaking, and he pushes him back against the wall. He looks at the three of you and he goes, "Where is she?"
Downstairs.
And he dashes down the stairs, leaving the other up there.
We could have taken him.
He is a giant.
Yeah, we could have taken him. It's fine.
I think I comes up to their shin.
And you're left with the one with the moustache, and he sort of runs his hands through his hair.
Who are you?
My name is Eden Grēnweard. I am the lord of this castle.
Bit of trouble, aren't you?
That's one word for it.
We're not just here to bring Eowyn back to your castle. We're here because we've come to help.
Right. And he reaches a hand out to you to shake it.
Radiant.
Eden. And then he does the same to you, and you place your hand up. Here, one corner of his mouth, just a little twitch as if he's going to smile. And he puts his hand on yours. It doesn't... Roll me insight with advantage,
Let's just leave it at that.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Nat 20. It's like someone who is very, very good at being led by a dance partner. While he's never done this before, you can tell that, you can sense that, immediately does it. Copies even your stance.
Mm-hmm.
There's something immediately quite magnetic about him.
Mm-hmm.
There's this kind of, despite the fact that this is a huge imposition upon them and a terrible circumstance, there's like a charm to him straight away, and he puts his hand in yours.
And I smile to kind of sense this and go back and smell my hand. And then I turn and I say,
I likes the small one.
And he says, "You've had soup."
and I just goes, and just nods.
And then he extends his hand to you.
Dolly doesn't take it, but she does incline her head and say, "So, what's the situation down here?"
Well, you can see for yourself. And he gestures out to the town beyond. And I'm not going to make you roll perception. The town of Mouse is nestled into trees, much of it nestled into trees, but there are a few roads that lead through the woods, the forest. And this first road leads down, and you can see a couple of houses and what looks to be perhaps a brewery or a multi-purpose building, 2 stories. And the other 2 things that are impossible to ignore, there's smoke on the horizon in the forest. Looks to be black smoke from wet wood that's not still ablaze but is smouldering. And there are a series of tents beyond the walls.
You is surrounded by those with the masks, yes?
Yes, we are.
I pulls off his pouch, reaches in and goes,
We has experience.
and pulls out Mask of the Gloom.
Roll me persuasion with advantage.
That is a 19.
And you travel with my sister, do you? So she has experience with these as well.
She has killed one.
Has she now?
Or 2.
It's hard
Or
to tell.
1.
It's hard to keep track. She kills.
It's hard to know in the dark.
She's done well then, has she?
Oh yeah. We wouldn't have made it as far as we did without her.
And he nods his head. That's good to know. Thank you. Thank you for bringing her back, and thank you for your aid. We can use every pair of hands we have.
She did make it very tricky for us to get in here.
What do you mean?
She did not want us to know who she was.
The truth is hard. It's not always easy to. It's not always easy to be who you have to be. Did she put you in danger?
No more than we would be anyway, most likely.
I was on tops of it.
You came in through the tunnels, of course you did. How did you get past it?
She speaks to
Well,
and has a dagger.
right, it worked then.
You let her go.
I helped her go.
Why?
Because she's my sister and I love her and it's what she wanted.
She is tribe.
That's one way of thinking about it, yes. It's probably the best way of thinking about it.
How long's it been?
8.5 years, almost 9.
What does it feel like when you let tribe go?
It's a pain like the end of everything.
And why does tribe let tribe go?
Because sometimes pain for us is a release for the ones we love.
I thinks for a bit and then goes,
But what if it's just more pain?
For the ones you let go, then you shouldn't have let them go.
and I just thinks,
And we'll cut down into the courtyard. Endellion and Cal. And first to approach is you see Aaron the steward, who, as Kellen is like, just still trying to. Roll me insight Kellness on Kellen.
Kellen Cal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2
don't.
Cals.
Don't. I mean,
22.
22. Can you roll insight as well, please, Endellion, on Kellen? You can roll with advantage for insight on your brother.
That would just be a 19.
A 19. Kelly really doesn't want you to think badly about him for the birds. And Endellion, you've never really been aware of Kellen worrying what anyone thinks of him. So this is a very unusual. This is like, God, could this be growth? Like, could this have been? Could he have in the intervening like 8, nearly 9 years have gone? You know. Oh, actually, maybe other people's opinions do matter a little bit. And he's still sort of going, like, you've got to remember, like, the pressures of being I don't have great responsibility around here, but like the sort of holistic feeling that you have when you're grieving. I mean, I thought she was dead. I can't emphasize that enough. And we're all sort of we're worrying and we're sad, and like Mum's sad and Tad and we're there's no way I can cut this and present it to you where I did a good thing with the birds, but I will say they had each other.
I said, Kellen, I put my hand on his shoulder. I said, Kellen, may I call you Kel?
I'd love that. What's your name?
I'm Kel as well.
Well, that's easy to remember.
Swell.
Swell. Well.
Kel, some of my best friends are birds. Which is why I reacted the way I did. But I will forgive you. Be swell, Kel.
See?
Oh,
it's
hell,
fine.
Kel. And he puts his hand on your shoulder. And he sort of says, you're a good dragonborn?
Yes.
You're a good dragonborn, Kel. I knew I liked you. Ha. That's a weight off my mind. And then he turns around and the three of you are suddenly aware of an elf with receding silver hair stood at the boundary of the training area, hands full of papers and quills and ink. And it's Aaron, the steward. And Kel, my one, looks at Aaron and he goes, points at Endellion. This is wild. This is absolutely wild, isn't it? And Aaron nods. Lady of the castle. Good to have you home.
But I really hate being called Lady of the Castle. Yeah, it's nice to be home.
This will require a lot of paperwork. And he just turns back, heads back, like with his quills, with his stuff, just heads straight back towards the keep. And at this point you hear, "Where is she?"
And I'm just, shit. Shit. And it's almost like I'm trying to throw Kellen in front of me.
Right.
It's like I'm not trying to hide. No, my Kel, not you. And it's like he's so thin I wouldn't be able to anyway. But I'm trying. I'm trying to hide.
Roll a stealth check with disadvantage.
I mean, it's a nat one, so he's really quite skinny.
You see Kellen come round the corner.
Shit.
When the last time you remember Kellen had just started lifting. Like, he would go down into the caves and he'd like pick up big rocks. And he's the, as you know, he's the second youngest of the brothers. And he would, the last time you would have seen Kellen was the first time he was able to lift a weight that was similar to Eden. And Eden said it didn't count unless he could hold it above his head for 10 minutes. And he got to 9.5 minutes. His whole body was like convulsing. He was probably 20, early 20s, very early 20s, but always desperately wanted to impress Eden. And were it not for the fact that you recognize the voice, you wouldn't think you were looking at the same person. Like those, where he had where he worried about his skin, and it was a little bit like red, and he had a lot of breakouts, and he had a lot of blemishes. Now it's covered by like a thick red beard, and he's swole. And as he approaches the training little compound, there's a swing gate on a hinge, and he goes like that and slams it, and the thing goes off the hinge completely, and he pushes Kellen out the way, and he stands in front of you, and he goes, "Explain yourself now!"
I've come back to help.
Roll me a persuasion check.
19.
Good. Like arms around you and squeezes you.
Chest, like I can't even hug him back. Like chest.
He totally doesn't mean to. You take 2 points of bludgeoning damage. Because it's just like, it's the strongest grip. And as he squeezes you, against your better judgment, like you make a little, like an involuntary little noise. He's, sorry. How? Who are you? Points at you. Like, both roll insight checks on him again.
10.
9.
Okay, this is like anger with nowhere to go. There's no one to like be angry with. Who are you?
Dude, you're big. I don't want any trouble.
And you've got, within here, you have these dummies that you'd practice sword play on. And he walks over to one of the dummies, holds it by the shoulders and nuts it, just like headbutts it as hard as he can. Bang, 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 bang.
Endellion, your family are nuts.
Yeah, you see where I get it from. Kellen, please stop that.
He goes, are you hungry?
No, Mum's
You
already
should eat
fed us.
something.
No, he's not.
Let me see if I can get you some soup. Straight back into the key.
Families like this tend to, when we don't know what to do, we just feed people.
I like that.
Yeah, you'll be fine by the end of today. You'll be full.
Who is that?
That would be one of my other brothers. You're on
Which one?
That is the fourth brother. Kellen.
Who?
Kellen.
Kellen. I can't keep up with this.
You know what? I'll write you a cheat sheet later.
We'll put a family tree in the lower quarter. So, Kellen disappears back in after Aaron, and back up on the top of the tower. You can hear a load of shouting. You can hear a load of headbutting, and Eden says, "I should probably," and gestures down the stairs. I should probably be.
He's already got his head out the door as soon as the noise was heard. It's just already just doing this.
Right.
looking down.
Okay. He says, we have some. Both my sister and I have some explaining to do.
The big one has gone inside with Stuart Allen.
With Stuart Allen. Thank you very much. I'm not familiar with him. Looks to Dolly with his head kind of askance.
The elf.
Right, Aaron. Thank you.
Stuart Aaron.
Yes, Stuart Aaron.
Steward.
Yeah.
Steward.
as
Before we
in-
go down, I just want to ask you something. Your sister,
Yeah.
she's not very good at opening up.
No. That's not a question.
I have an idea. She's not very good at opening up, and we've been trying. I've been trying, and she won't. And we need her to trust us. What can you tell us about her, if anything, that will help?
With deeds, not words. She'll, You can't talk Endellion. He doesn't say that. You can't talk Elowen round. When she gets an idea in her head, she's pretty much set on that course of action. And she'll never forget an insult. But she will also never forget an act of charity. She'll never forget an act of bravery or selflessness.
What if I've kind of accidentally done both very recently?
An insult and an act of selflessness.
I tried to charm her.
Oh. She won't have taken too kindly to that.
No. But she put us in danger.
She did she?
A couple of times.
She was angry, we was angry.
And has she ever got you out of danger?
Many
Couple of
times.
times.
And have you ever got her in danger?
Oh, this I does not know.
I've done it quite a few times.
Right. So would you say on the balance sheet, he looks at you, right, in the balance sheet between you and my sister, would you say the score is even?
Probably.
Then give her time.
Because we need her.
I understand that. We'll talk more. We'll all need to speak about where we are and why we're here and where we're going.
Place seems pretty big. You'll have space for us to stay for a bit.
Of course, I'll well, I mean, it's not just us who are here, but of course we can find places for you.
I needs to rest.
Yes. Yes. Have you been fed? We must
Yes.
eat something.
Yeah, we've had food.
Right. Because you've got to eat. It's very important. You can't just not eat. All right. Well, I best go see to my domestic situation. And he leaves you at the top of the tower. Is there anything you three want to do or discuss while you're up there?
I mean, I guess it's sort of try and peer and see if we can see anything, like looking from this tower, see if we can see any kind of sign of the Gloom from where this vantage point is.
Roll perception.
16.
16. You can see in the far distance, before the tree line, before you get as far as the tree line and the village, that the road kind of leads straight and then starts to kind of undulate into the trees and you lose sight of it. But the building, the large building, looks to be a 2-story building, is a 2-story building, for the sake of clarity. You can see people passing past the windows.
Okay.
That there is movement in there.
Okay. I relay this.
It'd be nice to get an idea of numbers. How many people are down there?
I might be handy for this.
You can see that there are 6 tents around the road.
I is very small. I is very fast. I might be able to get an idea of numbers.
What, go down there?
Right now?
No.
In the dark.
Well, listen, I'm just going to say it out loud. Are we really about to put ourselves on the line for a family of people that we don't really know?
We have a job to do. We deliver the bag. We get out of there.
They might not be tribe, but they is an Endellion, an Eloin tribe.
Endellion was ready to put us at risk. I'm just... I don't know.
Things get said, things get done. When things is dangerous and things is scary.
Mm-hmm. And things are going to get dangerous and scary again. You're all right with it?
If you has tribe,
Tribe has you. Do you have tribe?
I has tribe. I always has tribe. If not's always here, I has tribes here.
It's a nice outlook.
I need to get some rest.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sorry about earlier.
Why what?
I feel that I was impulsive and I shouldn't have done what I did to her, but I did it for you. I did it for me.
I know that. I mean, we could have died.
I know,
It was looking that way.
but I don't want you to hold it against her either.
We'll see.
If someone had done that to me, I'd probably be the same.
Yeah, true. But we're gonna need to work past that, as you say. We're gonna keep working together. There needs to be some level of trust.
I want to stop trying to find reasons to say sorry.
We'll get there. You know, it's still early days. We're still finding our feet. We're still scared. Think about how much we've been through in the last however long we've been together. Like, you so love to tell people the gods aren't dead. And that was just the start of our troubles.
Tribe means never having to say you're sorry.
Boo! Sorry, Radiant's looking out and he goes, sorry, what was that?
I said tribe. Ignores I.
Kel and Endellion back down at the training enclosure. Still these four, just townsfolk have just watched all this like a tennis match. You see another figure come around the corner and it's Eden. And he goes up to you, Kel, first. Extends his hand. He says, Eden Grēnweard.
Kellness.
Good name.
Thank you.
And then puts like one arm round you, kisses you on the top of the head, says, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Darren was right. That moustache is terrible.
Roll me an insight check.
It's not good. 3.
He goes, all right, fuck you very much. turns around and walks back into the castle.
I just follow along behind.
Okay.
Assuming I'm welcome to.
Yeah, you can absolutely follow along. Are you guys staying up the top of the tower, or are you
I think
coming
we'd
down?
probably be coming
Yeah.
back down at this point.
Yeah.
So you make your way down. As you do, you see there are a couple of guards on the regular walls. This place isn't being completely unguarded and unmanned. And as you get down to the bottom of the tower, so you see Endellion and Kellness walking some distance behind Eden as he goes in to the keep, and you sort of meet outside the entrance to the keep itself, the five of you reunited.
How was the reunion?
Yeah, 3 down, 1 to go.
I met another Kel.
Oh, small world.
Small guy.
Small guy. No, it's
Seems
Stuart
like him,
Allen. It's Stuart Allen.
Is he small guy too?
Small man.
Who is Stuart? I don't remember a Stuart.
Is he small?
You don't remember a Stuart.
Okay.
And then I think I relays the information about the Gloom and sort of the building.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying what we kind of have gone up and seen up there.
Okay. Yeah, it tells you about the tents beyond the wall, about movement in this. You would know it to be a brewery, that this building is. And the number of tents and the smoke on the horizon, far into the town.
It's difficult. I think I'm still kind of shocked that anything like this would even happen to a town like Mouse. I get that it's a defensive position, but can't stay in here forever. It's what's the offense going to be? Like, we can't just hold this,
I has already said, I is small, I is fast, I is not easy to see in the dark.
Oh, that is ridiculous.
I is just saying.
It's a little more danger than I'd be willing to put you in.
If we were just going to go send you out into there, what was the point of this bag?
We can still give the bag.
We will give the bag.
Yeah, let's rest up first. I mean, it's been a long day. I think we rest up. You do whatever it is that you need to do with the family, and we come at it with fresh eyes, bushy tails. Another metaphor. Tomorrow,
As you as you are kind of just outside the main entrance, the doors open to the keep itself. A little halfling who you recognize Endellion as Jeremy Teaberry. Looks on the corner. Aha! Your mother, wonderful to see you. Your mother wishes to communicate. You, your room would be. The other rooms are full, so yours might require a dust, but it is yours to relax in, recuperate in, if you so wish. It's marvelous to see you. It really is. He gives a little wave to the four of you. Hello.
Hi. Are there any other rooms available at all?
Well, we could try and sort something, but
That would be great.
It's the others, you see, the families. Those from the town. They have the brothers' rooms.
And you're telling me in a castle of this size, that's all the rooms are taken?
Well, I suppose I was, but I suppose I must.
I does not need a room.
Must be wrong. Could you roll me persuasion?
That one.
The Lady Elowen's really is a very large room.
You can stay. We can all stay in my room. Honestly, the town folk from Mouse, they deserve the proper rooms. They have nothing left. We can't move them out just to give you a bed.
We've slept in a basement together before.
No, which is why, like, it's a castle. I thought
I can sleep in the kitchen.
You can sleep under the bed,
sleep in
don't
the
worry.
kitchen.
It's a big bed. No, you can all stay in my room. Better than me staying in there alone anyway. That's just weird.
Sleepover.
So do you want to lead them up?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go into the keep, and you go up round go up to a staircase. This great staircase that, because this is a defensive position, it has these kind of very narrow windows, but they're quite plentiful. And so what it kind of creates are these almost grids of light, like single beams, like the blade of a sword, that you pass through as you turn up the first staircase. And Endellion leads you upstairs, and this first floor is suddenly full of noise. And there are clearly the townsfolk, just the people of Mouse, the people that they could get out. You see, Endellion, that the doors to all your brothers' rooms are open, and as you pass the old sort of family dining and the family sitting room, everyone roll perception checks as the door is open.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Where was that before?
12.
12. Endellion?
Oh, 7.
7.
A 1.
A 1.
21.
You really did run the gamut.
Yeah,
So with a nat 20, you see, I'll give you advantage on your next roll because there isn't a huge amount to see beyond what's actually there. Lots of mattresses that have been pushed against the wall. This looks to be an area that is reserved for like the younger children, and so there are kids playing. There's a tiefling in a rocking chair, their skin kind of pale after, with age really, sat next to the window. You don't recognize any of the faces in here. This seems to be being used as like a creche. And the other rooms that you've passed, again, mattresses, you can see everyone here is, they all immediately have the look of non-combatants. The 4 that you saw, Kel, in the training area, and then the couple that you saw on the walls, the 3 of you as you were coming down, they look to be sort of fighting age, of appropriate age to be placed in harm's way if necessary. But everyone else who you're seeing is either old or some maybe who have young children or are expecting children. They don't have the look of warriors.
Because I got a nat 1.
Yes.
Looks like they're in good shape.
They're raising an army. They're breeding an army.
There's a lot of people here.
In about 25 years or so, they'll be ready to fight.
What do you mean? Look, there's loads of people here.
And you lead them into the sort of northwestern corner of this floor and into your bedroom. And you open the door and the door creaks. And the doors here were always well maintained. The doors here don't creak. And the room, although it's covered by this thick layer of dust, is how you left it. These heavy velvet drapes drawn across floor to ceiling windows against the light, and it's a place that feels a long time dark, as if the shadows grew into the spaces where life used to be. And there's an unmade 4-poster bed, sheets tangled against the left-hand wall, and to the right there's a desk which is strewn about with books, and all the once bright colours of the covers are muted and faded to dust. Roll me a perception. Everyone roll perception checks. Let's have Endellion roll with advantage.
Lovely, Endellion. Really nice room.
And you can roll. What, do you get another nat 20 or something?
No.
Because you can roll with advantage on. You can keep your advantage. You can
I
roll
didn't.
with-
No, I'll keep it if it's
You'll keep
okay,
it,
because
absolutely.
I got an 18.
Okay. I
Natural 6.
natural 6. The best roll.
19.
19.
18.
18.
22.
22. Everyone with an 16. Did you say you got I?
Natural 6.
Natural 6. Sorry. So everyone apart from I, when you're somewhere which has been left alone, something that is out of place is immediately apparent to you. And all of you apart from I immediately see that there's a letter on the bed. In an envelope.
I'm gonna go take it, but I don't want to read it
Sure.
here in
Sure.
front of people.
Sure, you have your letter. And yeah, it's your room.
I'm gonna open the curtains, I guess.
And
It's
as
like putting life back into the place.
yeah, and as you do, like you open the curtains and like there's just dust like a sandstorm in the air.
It's all kind of hanging around this height.
I is
Give him a little
almost
pat on the back.
lost to this grey. And the windows have still been cleaned from the outside. Like they've kept the windows clean, and the blue kind of pierces through the dark. And as strange as it is, you're home.
I'm a curious soul. I'm going to I want to look. I want to see what objects are in the room. I want to look on top of the surfaces.
Sure. Roll me an investigation check, Kellen. And
I'm
anyone else
I'm
wants
not
to
even being secretive. I'm just going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're stood in my bedroom.
Investigation.
I'll help him.
Oh yeah, give the help action so you
6.
can roll with advantage.
Oh. 8. 9.
9. Books. The books are adventure books. They're books with people with swords on the cover. They're not books about etiquette and needlepoint and accountancy and the managing of estates. They're books about heroism. And it looks to be a roll insight, Kelness.
Oh, he's going to pass that.
Well, can you roll with disadvantage because you haven't really managed to ascertain a huge amount.
9.
9. I'll say with a 9, it feels like a if you do the maths on how long she's been gone, this feels like the room of a slightly younger. It doesn't feel like the room of a sort of 17, 18-year-old. It feels like the room of a younger child than that, someone with more childlike.
How long has it been since you've been here?
9 years, maybe? Yeah. It's been a really long time.
It looks like you became the people in your books.
Yeah, and for the longest time I thought the books was as close as I was ever going to get to having an adventure.
How does it feel to be back?
Feels horrible to be back. You spend 9 years trying to forget what it was like. And then it's like you get snapped right back into how much you miss everybody and how much you loved it. And you can't go back.
But you can just walk away again.
Yeah, I suppose I can walk away again, but you realize how much damage I must have done the first time I walked away. And they're so happy to see me. Maybe I could have walked away anyway.
These books are all for a very young child. How old were you when you walked away?
19, 18, something like that.
You were reading these books when you were 18.
That was as close as to adventure I was going to get. They're not the types of books an 18-year-old Lady of Mouse would have been given to read. The schoolroom here wasn't the best. Or maybe I just wasn't the best student. I'm never sure which one it was.
When you come back in here, do you remember what it was like? How it felt to be that age?
I remember what it feels like to be with my brothers.
How does it feel to be with your brothers, your family?
Feels great. It feels like I'm home. They're my family. I never not loved them. I didn't leave because I was unhappy with them as people, but I'd found myself in a situation where when my mum tells stories about what she was like when she was young, it's like her face lights up. And there's just something in her eyes now that's just missing. And I just didn't want my eyes to look like that either.
It's a pretty drastic solution, Endellion.
This castle, it's big, but it can feel like a prison if you can't leave it.
You walked away once, you can do it again.
I escaped once. Then I guess the next time I get to walk away.
I'm jealous of you, you know.
Why?
Because I ran away once. And when I came back, I wasn't welcomed with open arms. I was punished. You're very lucky to have a family like this.
I've never not thought I was unlucky to have a family like this.
I would do anything to have my family back. I do not understand someone walking away from theirs.
Because you don't ever want to grow to resent them. And I was going to end up resenting what being a Grēnweard meant. There is so much out there, and I was going to see none of it. I was going to end up married off with that same glassy look behind my eyes that my mother had, and that was going to be all that I was going to get. And there is so much out there. I wanted to see it so badly.
It's your life. You get to do whatever you want with it.
And I got to live it because I got to leave.
The craziest thing is by you leaving, you might have been the most intelligent thing that could have possibly be done. Here we are 9 years later, and you're going to save them. If you'd stayed, who knows what would have happened?
I try not to think too much about what could have been if I had or hadn't or haven't done.
There's no point in thinking like that.
No.
And don't punish yourself for leaving. You did it because you had to, and now you are here to help them and to save them, and you can do the right thing. You're a good person.
I'm a selfish person.
You are a good person, and these people love you.
And I love them. Which is why I wanted to be here and I want to try and help. The best thing I can do for my family is protect Mouse.
And that's what we'll do.
Well, we'll have a good shot at it.
I'm sorry about trying to charm you.
It's the words again, Radiant. Don't just throw the word sorry around. Just the stuff you did on the way here. What you did for the people of Mouse. That does more to change the way I feel about you than anything else. It's your deeds, Radiant. It's not your words.
Fine. By the way, all those people did look like they can fight. I'm just saying. They were really well equipped. I must be seeing something very different.
Yeah, that's been a running theme for you between what happened in the council and here. Sometimes I think you just see what you want to see.
I see what I see.
Your brother's huge. And the other one's small.
Humans, am I right?
Yeah.
Amen.
I tries to reach.
With that, do you mind if I go and try and find my other brother?
Yeah, in fact, as you go to leave the room, there's a little knock on the door. And this knock, hello. Hey. And it's Jeremy Teaberry. Says, if you're ready, the family Grēnweard would very much like to speak with you all.
Yes.
All of us, or?
They were quite insistent. Far be it from me to instruct.
No, Jeremy, that's exactly what you do. Let's go.
And we'll take a little break there.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Cal.
And I'm Seb.
You're watching another episode of Top 5
No, we talked about this.
Right, sorry. We're Double Jump, the production company behind Natural 6.
And we're here on behalf of Natural 6 to ask you to consider joining the Patreon that funds this wonderful show.
It's for a good cause, and to be honest, the show needs the money.
But for what, I hear you ask? Harry's dice money, more fidget spinners for Alex, Aoife's insatiable appetite for morphine. I wish.
See, the surprising fact is that the cast of this show, these 6 lovable rogues, this hexagon of handsome, this sextet of sexiness, are in fact completely and utterly talentless.
You have no idea how much money it costs to make this show happen.
Between Aoife's accent lessons and the time it takes to digitally remove every strand of Doug's luscious hair.
It's so frizzy. It's so hard to mask.
To be honest with you, there's very little money left. And that's before we consider the crippling VFX budget for Ben Starr. How do I put this delicately?
Ben looks like a mole.
Yeah.
An unattractive mole. A mole that all other moles call rabbit face. Moles think rabbits are ugly. It's a known thing.
As soon as the show wraps, our team dash from the studio to escape the suffocating stench and begin the painstaking process of rendering Ben Starr's face as you know it.
Takes the largest server farm in the Northern Hemisphere just to render the jawline.
Harry, on the other hand, all he has is his face.
Bloody hell. Talk about clueless. He'd never even heard of D&D before.
He only signed up because he thought it was a sex thing. He heard dungeons and that was it.
Do you have any notion of how much a team of writers costs? Because we do.
And we need to be in Harry's ear every episode, feeding him lines.
If I have to pronounce reliquiae for him one more time, I'm going to lose it.
Alex is only here because we feel bad.
That's true.
Poor wee guy just can't land any work.
Sometimes I turn his mic off and I don't tell anyone.
It's smart.
Oh, and we haven't even discussed the significant legal fees required to keep CD Projekt's lawyers at bay concerning the voice of Kellness.
So please, sign up to the Natural 6 Patreon and help us make this show. It costs more than all the silly underwater bits from Avatar 2.
Without Double Jump, these skillless zeros, these human husks of talent, are literally worth nothing.
Except Hollie.
Oh, Hollie's great.
Yeah, no complaints.
Love her.
Oh, we're back!
Whoa!
Welcome us. Welcome. So, Jeremy Teaberry has just knocked on the door.
Fantastic name.
Beautiful name for a
Stunning
beautiful
name.
halfling.
Big love to my Jeremy
He's got
Teaberry.
a little kiss curl in the centre of his forehead. He says, they are prepared to receive you in your mother and father's chambers.
Yep, it's a deep breath, and I'm going to take you guys up to the second floor.
Yeah. Lead the way.
And the five of you go back through the creche, through the mass of people. I mean,
Sea fighters. You go. Hey, everyone. You got this.
roll me a persuasion check.
Oh, nice. 15.
Well, you see a child punch the air and punch a child.
You're meant to be helping the people of Mouse.
Around the corridor, up the stairs you go, and you see that the door is open to Riodir and Lesota's private studies.
Yeah, just gonna
And you head in, and you can see that a few of the brothers are sleeping in here. There are bedrolls that have been pushed off to the side. They've all given up their rooms for the sake of the people who need a roof over their head.
The mice.
Thanks, Dolly.
For them,
Dolly's like, no, but I want my own
I
room.
wanted my own room. This is a big castle.
And as you go into the room, you see all the familiar faces that you've seen before. You see Lesota, and you see Eden and Kellen and Kellen, and you see a big, broad guy, a long red beard tucked into robes, and a sort of a little hair around the top of his head, but you can see it's starting to sort of thin on the top. And he's sort of facing the door as you approach, and the others sort of, like Kellen sort of has his hand slightly uncomfortably on his shoulder. And as you walk in, he takes a big, deep breath, and he looks at you, and as he breathes out, this breath is sort of, he goes, right, come here, courtyard bar.
That was very good.
Thank you very much. I practiced in the break. And this is Torian, and he's always been the most gentle. And the embrace that you are enveloped in is the most gentle. And he smells like he always smelled of like ink and paper and slightly kind of like singed hair where he's been tinkering with something and working on something and investigating something. And his eyebrows are as patchy as yours. And as that embrace ends, there's sort of the five of you on one side of those. I guess at this point, Endellion's in the middle, and there's the five of them. And it's Lesota who speaks. And she says, well, we have much to discuss. These are dark times for our people, for our land. We're glad you're here. What do you know? What can you tell us?
I think I'll reach in again and pull out the cloak and the mask. And I place it down.
You place them down on this big walnut table, and the brothers reach out, Eden first, and they sort of examine the masks and nod. And Eden says, they've encountered these before.
When did they first arrive?
10 days.
You've held out longer than Load did.
Longer than Load.
Load didn't last.
And this is, this is old news to you. This is fresh information for them, and that you see these looks of disbelief and horror pass between them.
What does you know?
Eden says 10 nights ago we saw fires lit in the village above the tree line. We heard screaming. And he puts his hand on Kellen. biggest one. We ran down with Mina, next to you. Mina is the captain of the guard. But by the time we got there, it was overrun. They were overwhelmed. The militia, the town guard were all dead, and we went door to door, trying to help whoever we could move them. And then he turned up. And they pointed at Kellen, who sort of shrugs. I brought Dirty with me, so I had to get him harnessed up. I don't want him running off. And we got those you see here, 40 people. Managed to get them out. I think others fled into the woods, into the forest.
We saw a few of them on the road.
Who did you see?
Paddy?
Paddy got out, did he?
Paddy got out.
That's good. Wilder would be pleased to hear that.
Yeah, we've sent them on to Baroon. Hoping they'll ask for Darrow when they get there.
Right.
Points to the mask and says, "This is the Gloom."
The Gloom.
The Gloom. The peoples you saved. Did they say the Gloom was all from outside, or did some Gloom come from the inside?
They don't know. They were wearing masks. They could be anyone. There was no warning, just torches being set to thatch and the sound of screaming. It was the middle of the night.
No one's had any warning.
Did they say anything?
No demands.
We had no demands. I mean, it's quite clear they want the keep.
Mm-hmm.
We have rations enough to sustain us for another few weeks. And they gestured to Torian, and Eden gestured to Torian, the one who's just embraced Endellion. He's been writing letters, sending ravens, hoping that help would come. You're the first to arrive.
Council sent us.
Did he make that happen, did he?
I don't know. I somehow thought I'd get away without any of you seeing me. He's now actually the only one that doesn't know.
And your mother says, I can deal with your father.
Yeah.
So Derwin knows, does he?
Yeah, everyone knows.
Take it well?
Let's just say he was definitely in the tavern that night.
Makes a change. And she just kind of looks back to the table, turns the mask over in her hand, the cloak. And Eden picks up the story. We were pursued on our way back. Mina stayed behind and held them off as long as she could. I don't know what happened to her. We haven't seen her.
For what it's worth, they've sent us with supplies. Dolly?
Yeah, we brought enough for everyone. Looking around, we can make that happen.
Good. Right, that's good to hear. Eden says, I want to break this siege. We think there are perhaps 20 or so. The four of us alone. I mean, to call the militia, the guard that we had in the village, they're long gone. They fell. There's one or two that remain. The rest are yeomen. They're tanners and brewers and readers and thinkers. They're not fighters. They can perhaps handle a bow from the walls of the castle, but until you arrived, there was precious little chance of us having them. The forces to break this siege.
Don't do yourself down. When I was walking through, every single one of them, they all look like fighters.
Kellen, who's sort of like, he says, he's right. Bold men and true, every damn one of them.
Brady walks up and goes, they are. I see it inside them.
Yes. They will not let this keep fall.
Even the children.
I like your style, boy.
Not the children. Not the children.
You're raising war children, I appreciate it.
Maybe not.
We are raising a tribe of warriors. A proud house!
And there's Lesota puts her hand on Kellen and says, calm yourself down now. You'll burst a blood vessel. Need to think very hard about what we do from here.
What do you want us to do?
We need to break the siege.
Yeah. They'll wait us out.
They can wait longer than we can, says Eden.
There's no point in us waiting.
20 people, you reckon?
That is what we believe. That's what we think. It's hard to take a head count.
These people are very dangerous.
We've seen evidence of that already.
So have we.
When was the
Some of
last-
us, a few of us went down when we fought them. We can't take them alone.
Well, you have our swords.
When was the last time they tried anything?
On the third night, they made an attempt to scale the wall with ropes.
Mm-hmm.
We repelled that attack. We downed 2 of them, but their numbers have not yet grown. But I fear that with every passing day, more could arrive. There is no better time than now. There is no army that can come to our aid. We have written to my mother-in-law in Yannick. They have their own guard, and they fear what happened here. And Yannick is not so easy to defend. It is a town. It has no fortress. They cannot spare the guard. I take it the guard of Baroon cannot be spared. Otherwise, they would be here where you are now.
Baroon are terrified. If Load falls, and if Mouse falls,
Anywhere could fall.
then Baroon would be next. They won't send anyone.
I think you is right. There could be more in time. And I thinks one ways to stop this, if we tries to take the fight to them, we is in trouble. If we provokes them to make the first move, maybe we has advantage.
What do you have in mind?
A sign of weakness they thinks that they could exploit.
He nods. Go on. Torian leans in at this point as well.
They has tried to scale the wall, and they has been repelled. They will likely not try this again. There is the gate. If they thinks they believes they has a moment to seize it, we could draw them in. There is also a passage through to the kitchen. They does not know. But if they thinks they has got information, and they thinks we don't knows, they might try to use it.
Torian nods. That is an interesting idea.
To willingly let the enemy inside the walls.
Not inside the walls. Inside a trap that we set for them.
Passageway might be too risky. That's a bottleneck. But the gate might work. Got good eyes on that. We can set ourselves up.
It could be a god who falls asleep. It could be a god who falls unwell. But if they see something and they thinks they sees their moment, they is not looking that it is our moment.
How do we convince them? How do we lure them into this trap?
We has one who is good with words, and we has this. And I gestures at the mask and cloak.
Are you suggesting we send Dolly out to convince them?
He has more than one of these.
You're quite the collector. As you point to the other.
Yeah.
I has good hands.
How many do we have?
2. No,
I'm not sure.
we has 3.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys go and get the
We went
stuff
and
out of
got-
this?
Yeah,
out of
sorry.
the
Yeah, we went.
So we've got 5,
You
don't
have 3.
We have 3, yeah.
You had 4. You gave 1 to Marcus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah.
We have 3.
The cloaks, I mean, they'd see that we were coming from the wrong side of the walls,
But you can get to the right side of the walls.
The passage.
but a parlay, if they think they're coming to talk.
Do you really think they want to talk?
They'd sense a trap. They'd have their own trap.
No one would be foolish enough to willingly walk inside the walls of this castle.
Well, I can walk outside the walls. We just need to get them close enough to see that there's an opening.
This is dark, but you has lost people. Has you lost anyone recently? And does you still have the body?
We have no bodies within the castle, no. We barely had time to shelter the living as they fled. We did not, as much as it pains us, go back to do the rites on those we lost.
Is there a way we could get to them and makes them think they has taken it? A list and times of when guards may change.
You mean plant information?
Not like a tree, but
Oh, yeah.
oh, metaphor.
Yeah,
Or
metaphor.
Is metaphor?
Yes.
Oh,
Torian
do
nods.
well.
It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. Very good. Agatha, you should meet Agatha.
I don't think I need to meet anyone else.
So this is what we're seriously considering.
We have to break the stalemate somehow. They're going to win if we play the waiting game.
Okay, so we send Dolly and whoever else out there to talk. Then what?
if they thinks they has been handed information from more Gloom, if Dolly and someone else, Dolly and I, makes our way through the tunnel, and Dolly is there to give information from the Gloom, acting as the Gloom.
What?
With the mask and the cloak, and you is there as a messenger with false information. I can also be there to be sneaky.
But to do what?
See what's they has.
You put yourself in terrible danger if you do this. I fear Eden again picks up the mask. We know these people are capable of barbarity. We know they're desperate. They wished to take this castle with all speed. They have not done so. We have waited for those who could bolster our ranks. We have 5 more. If you would take almost half that group and separate it, you are exposed. Should anything go wrong, we cannot get to you in time.
And this is why I likes the idea of them finding information.
I think we need to stick together on this. It's a siege. I don't like the idea of any of
We
us
can
going
stick
up there.
together and still have them find. If we finds a way of making thems think they has found, then they will believe. Totally.
Eden, with even double the numbers, what did you think we were going to do? Just open the doors and run at them?
I didn't know who was coming, know how many we had. Suppose I thought if an attack came from another direction, if we split our forces in two, perhaps, if there was an attack made to draw them away and then some of us leave the castle and attack from the other side, perhaps we could catch them unawares. You're asking me for plans that I've not had time to make. We didn't know if we were having any help or none. As far as I was concerned, we were waiting here until we starved. Like Kellen's birds. And Kellen goes, that's genuinely unfair.
Trying to have any more birds.
He's not going to have any more birds.
We have some more birds, we do.
No, we
have the ravens. We have the ravens. I don't know what you
But
want
we
to do with
don't
the
has a
ravens.
bush to put them in.
I beg your pardon.
You get used
Two
to it.
birds in the bush.
Yes. Is he all right?
No,
He oscillates wildly between incredible insight and
yeah, and then sometimes he just goes really fast.
So if we takes the tunnel, and they does not know we is in here.
No.
If we takes the tunnel, and we attacks from outside, their attention is not on you.
Exactly.
Then we flank them.
I think this is a good option.
Good work.
Do we flank them or do we set up a diversion?
I'd like you to try and kill some of them.
We're going to flank them.
And I will kill many.
Sure you will. Good strong boy, your boy, looking at Kelman's.
You don't have the foggiest.
Well, what do you bring? Do you bring anything beyond rations?
Only what's in the bag we were sent with.
And what is in the bag? You were saying?
Weapons,
Weapons.
healing kits,
Right.
everything.
We
So
can
at least
hand it over, right?
Oh, I assume it's.
No, I still have it.
You still have it down in the thing.
How many are there in the castle?
I can put together 6 more to aid, but I would need to leave some on the walls, most of them on the walls, because if this goes wrong, I cannot leave the castle completely undefended.
If this goes wrong, you have to get whoever's in here out.
I know, and we will tell those who remain about the tunnels. We will move everyone underground in preparation to evacuate if necessary. If they come up by the tide, they can slip away potentially to the north.
I still see the use for these.
Pointing at the
at
masks.
the mask and the.
For us, if we is going outside, there is use in these, even for one moment, to help catch them by surprise. If they think, while some is hiding outside, if they thinks there is some of them own Gloom coming towards them, they will not be so easily looking for those who is hiding.
Might even be grateful for the reinforcements.
Yes.
Like we were.
And all we need is that surprise. I think this is our best plan.
I think it's our only plan.
When do we put this in motion?
Sooner rather than later.
You need to rest, don't you? It's a long journey you've had.
Mm-hmm.
You look, some of you don't look great.
I've got like twigs sticking out.
Some of us feel great after we had to get through your trials.
Torian beams. Did you enjoy the puzzle? You never were much for logic.
No.
Did you not?
It was awful.
I bet you thought it was Ellie, didn't you? I bet you stepped on the E.
Yes.
It's not all about you, you know.
So far, it really feels like it has been. Yeah, no, that wasn't fun. And also, Kellen, that was mean.
I'd have given it all.
Yeah, and some of the people stood here did.
That's necessary. I don't ask anyone to do something I wouldn't do myself.
And that was what worries me.
There is more tricks to be done in the night, but they is more likely to expect tricks in the night. Their guards will be probably more down in the day.
I think you might be right. First light.
First light.
First light.
Well, you need to be away to your beds then, don't you? We all do. He looks at Kellen and says, Kellen and I'll be out on the towers. We'll keep an eye over proceedings. I've had more of a chance to sleep than you have. Isolde will watch as well. She's very glad you're back.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get to know her.
You'll like her. She knows what's up.
Well, she can put up with you, then she's definitely made of strong enough stuff to be part of this family.
Well, fuck you very much, as I said before, I believe. All right.
Oh, and I want to give him the letter that I originally took from the bag of holding.
Great, and it's the letter that says, Eden, strong as the oak boy, courage, I will return. Remember me to your mother and the others. Our roots go deeper than those who would now lay us low. Your father. And Eden mimes wiping away a tear and goes, wow, that really is deep. He says to remember him to us. So you all remember Dad? And they all sort of nod. And he hands it to Lesota, says, just as forthcoming as always. She takes it and puts it in the folds of her dress. And then she says to Endellion, Eowyn, will you come with me?
Of course.
And while the four of you are just kind of finessing the plan with the other brothers, Endellion, she takes you by the hand, which is unusual. And she leads you into her bedroom that your parents share. And you never really went in here very often. It was always, this whole floor was sort of out of bounds. And it's been a long time since you've sat here. This huge four-poster bed, velvet drapes in the colours of the Grēnweard house. And at the end, there's this sort of padded bench seat at the bottom of the bed. And she sits you down, almost directs you to sit, holding you with both hands. And she says, I want to say something to you and I don't want you to interrupt, all right?
Fine.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm more angry with Eden than I am with you. But he's told me. I never knew how unhappy you were. And if I'd known how unhappy you were, if you told me, I could have done something about it. But I suppose you not telling me was a reflection more on me than it was on you. I am parent, after all. You know, I was raised to lead. You know that? I was raised to fight and to lead and to hold high status and have people following my instruction, and I hated it. I don't know what you thought of me. I know I don't, and she gestures as if to say, give of myself. I don't. But I didn't walk away from leading with sadness. I didn't want it. And all my childhood, I was being raised for a life I didn't want. And then your father comes along, and it was a partnership. It was two people who saw. I know he's not the most exciting, but he's solid. And he never let me down. And all the things he looked forward to, I didn't want to do. I don't want to fight. I don't want to play politics. I wanted to look at the sun rising over the distaw, and I wanted to know I was home. And I just wanted that for you. I didn't want you to feel like you had to become something. And yes, your dad wanted you to dance, and he wanted you to wear bows in your hair, and we fought about that. And it was, I knew the boys were taking you down into the tunnels. I'm not stupid. I knew you wanted something, but I didn't want you to be forced into what I had, and I see now that in trying to save you from the life I had, I forced you into a life you didn't want. And I wish you told me, and I'm sorry. And throughout this, she's been sort of staring at, sometimes at sort of your shoulder, sometimes at the bed, sometimes at the eye, sort of never in your eyes. And then she says, she looks at you for the first time, she says, I just wanted you to stay a child for as long as you could.
I was being raised for a life I didn't want, and I did want to fight, and I did want to play politics. I wanted to go on adventures. Things I have seen and done. I have partied in estates in Escalon. I have climbed Mount Atria. I have seen incredible things. I have drunk incredible things. I have done incredible things. Things I just couldn't have done if I had stayed in Mouse. Everything I hoped and imagined I could do and I could see and I could feel, I did. But I don't think you could have let them happen. I don't think you could have found a way for me to genuinely be as free as the forest.
She says, the roots of the oak are strong, they grow where they will, and nothing can stop their passage through the earth. And she says, let me right some of that wrong. And she goes into a room at the side, and she comes back out, and she carries a case, narrow case, hard black leather with bronze hinges. And she lays it on the sort of banquette stool next to you. She clips open the hinges. And within there's this lining of purple velvet. Purple is the colour of House Aoife, the Sota's house. And inside is a short sword with this ornate scabbard with filigree of bronze leaves, slight curve to the blade. And she says, this was meant for me. It was something I never wanted. But take it as a recognition and recompense, trying to block your roots as they grew. And she hands the sword to you. She says, Your 9 would have been very proud. She loved to smash things as well.
Well, let's put it to good use. Let's use it to defend Mouse.
I know you will. It's a +1 magic short sword.
To match the Grēnweard dagger.
And then she looks at you as you hold this sword in your hand, and she leans forward and she very softly kisses you on the forehead.
I've missed you. It's good to be home.
I missed you. Right, you need to eat something before you sleep. And then she disappears back into that main room where the others are still.
No, the pigs don't actually fly. They're not actually going to fly. Again.
And that Kellen deeply unhelpfully leans in and says, I don't know, I've seen things. I have seen absolutely wild stuff.
And so wise does we try to put pigs in square holes?
Very similar. Very similar. And Lesota comes in and says, right, you're all the way to your beds. You're off to the wall, points at Eden. You're off to the wall with him, Kellen. Make sure that you're not sleeping at the same time. And Eden goes, all right, ma'am. Yeah, that's fine. Yes. Right. Right, I'm going to go and make sure that everybody downstairs has had something to eat. And she sort of gestures, she sort of jerks her hand at you as if to tell you to all leave the room.
Let's do what she says.
Yes, ma'am.
And you go down to the room where you were, and Jeremy is there having done his best to dust, and having laid out some more bedrolls so that you can sleep more comfortably.
Aware that Jeremy probably wouldn't be thinking about the fact that someone might be about to do this, can I go over and just check under the bed to see how well he's dusted under there?
Yeah, it's appalling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Jeremy still have a broom?
Yeah, Jeremy has a broom. Yeah.
Okay, so I goes over and
his little kiss curl is a little bit like smushed across his face because he's been frantically. So you would remember it. He was Riode's personal valet, and he now is, you can assume, Eden's personal valet.
So I goes over and just holds his hand out for the broom, and just looks at the broom and takes it, and goes over.
Yep, careful with that.
Goes over to the bed, and basically two hands on it, so hind legs are still on the ground, and then kind of leans right forward so that the broom is out front, the hind legs are on the back, front legs are on the broom, clicks his heels, and just under the bed.
Doubles his speed.
Doubles back, turns back again, under the bed again. 3 times, just dum, dum, dum.
It's like one of those incredibly satisfying, like lawnmower simulator games. Every time you go under, that is a perfect perpendicular line.
Yeah, so basically
Sounds more like
that.
Goat Simulator.
And literally has a pile of dust at the front, and then clicks his heels, and then takes the broom back over, hands it to Jeremy, and just goes,
Many thanks.
You must show me. And Jeremy takes his broom, which you see he clasps quite tenderly to him. It clearly has great significance to Jeremy Teebury, and leaves the 5 of you.
How did it go?
Fine. I guess it's the conversation we probably should have had years ago. Just a realization that we wanted different things.
Am I allowed to just notice the sword?
Absolutely. Is it still in its black leather case, or have you?
It's already at my hip.
It's already at your hip, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, I'm going to retcon that as you leave. As you leave and you walk past the others, Kailan goes, "Oh, no way!" So the sword is at her hip.
What's that?
It was my mother's. It was a sword she never really got a chance to use. So I'm going to see that it does.
I'm not going to lie, I'm quite jealous that you got some goodies here.
You have a deck of cards that whispers to you.
I'm just being honest.
You do love honesty, Radiant. I've always got to give you that.
Can I hold it?
Just be careful with it.
Yeah, it doesn't look as cool when you hold it.
Like, because you don't have proficiency with it, even though it's just a sword that you're holding flat in your hands, you're holding it wrong. It's just a really difficult thing to. It's a difficult thing to look at.
He's gonna cut himself.
Like, if you can
Look,
tell
why don't I
whether or not
just,
someone's
like-
good
Why
at
does it
cooking by the
hurt?
way they
Why does it
hold the
hurt?
knife.
One might just, you know what? I'm gonna take it. Take it back.
It's a nice sword, Endellion.
Thank you. I's really good at doing bandages if you need me.
That hurt more than the weird holes that we put our hands in.
What do we call you now?
I don't know.
What do you prefer?
I also don't know. Let's sleep on it. Let's see what happens when we get out of Mouse. Maybe I'm a different person outside of Mouse.
I want to call you Indy.
Veto.
Maybe we all come up with cool names. And then
You
decide
calling
which one's the
them
coolest.
Vito?
Yeah, I mean, if you all want to come up with nicknames, then we can absolutely roll performance checks and we can see how much Dolly's wins by.
Well, I absolutely want to do that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Well,
Radiant is rats.
You obviously get to choose,
yeah, you get.
but we all come up with a name.
You can all come up with a nickname for Endellion, a new nickname for Endellion/Elowen, which she can be known as by the group. She has the right to whether or not it sticks.
Yeah.
Whether or not it sticks is one thing, and I'll let you muse on it in the morning, overnight, so that you can have a little think about it. Naming mechanics.
We'll put that in your next blog post.
So, are we all settling down for bed?
Big day tomorrow.
Can I read my letter?
Yeah, you can.
I think I just want to sort of sit on the bed. I'm not trying to hide it, but I'm not reading it out loud. It's my, like...
Okay. I'm just going to read it out loud to you, if that's all right. It says, Elowen, my Ellie, I held you. I watched you grow, and now you are gone from me. And I cannot fathom how or why. I wander the woods and half expect to find you among the trees. I sit on the floor in your room, turning over in my hands those things that your hands touched. You are within everything, and yet absent from it all, somehow. Out of reach. It is a pain like the ending of all things. Like falling into something endless and black and forever. You are gone, and I remain. Without you, my smallest, my girl. There is nothing found in songs, nor tapestries, nor statues. Nothing in those books you read that makes sense of this. I am sorry I never had the words before. Sometimes I wonder if that would have made a difference. I'm sorry if it would have. I loved you. I loved you so. I love you still. Pad. And you hear a cry from the wall. A shout from the wall. And it's Kylan's voice. Quickly!
Go.
And the five of you dash out of Elowen's room, down the stairs, into the courtyard, up the stairs, and you stand on the walls. And fires have been lit next to the tents. And they cast this otherwise impenetrable dark of night in strange shadows, strange red glow, and on the edge of the fires, you can see the shapes of figures. 100 yards or so. That's inaccurate. 100 feet or so away from the gatehouse. And can see. Everyone roll perception checks, in fact. You meet on the walls, the brothers are all there. Isolt is there, Lesotho runs up beside you.
13.
13 from Dolly.
13 as well.
13 from I.
22.
22 from Kellen.
14.
14 from Endellion and 22 from Radiant. A single figure, Calnus and Radiant, you can see in the far distance this brewery. And a figure emerges as the door opens. And they start to walk towards the edge of this firelight. And their faces covered by one of the now familiar silver masks of the Gloom. You see it's a woman, chestnut hair falling in waves down to and past their shoulders. They wear a ragged grey dress. Their bare arms, despite the cold, their hands are covered by black gloves. And their footsteps, each kind of crunching and squelching in the mud and the snow. And they stand semi-illuminated in the firelight. I'm going to write something down. This is what you hear in your head, Dolly. And the rest of you watch as this figure almost seems to be waiting for something. They stand with their hands outstretched. And then the voice comes clear through the night. You are bereft of friends, sons of Grēnweard. The shadow is fast approaching, and the coming flood will consume you all if you do not surrender this fortress to us. We will give you safe passage to Baroon with your wounded. You will not be harmed. And the brothers look to Eden. And Endellion, you see Lesotho looks to Eden. And Eden says, this fortress will not fall. It has stood for hundreds of years. And then the woman on the edge of the firelight. You leave us with little choice. She raises a hand high into the sky, stretching up. And then she drops the hand. And you hear this sound. Echo through the night. And then she lowers her hand, she raises her hand again, and it stops. Do not trifle with us. And Eden now looks to his mother, and he looks to his brothers, and he looks to the 5 of you. Is there anything you want to try and communicate in this moment?
To each other, or just in
To him, he seems to be leading this. You can speak. You're perfectly entitled to speak, but he's kind of looking to you. You see, roll insight on him, Radiant.
No, we're not getting much. 8.
8. Those screams, those sounds you heard were horrible. And you're as rattled as he is. And you look at him searching other people for cues, and you're searching him for one.
I'm not willing to risk my family after losing them for 9 years, but they won't stop at Castle Grēnweard. We could go anywhere together, and I've got a feeling they're going to turn back up. So if we're going to stop them, holding here seems like the right thing to do.
He nods. Roll me a persuasion with advantage.
Natural 20.
And you see his kind of jaw set, as if takes courage from your courage. And he calls out to the figure on the edge of the fire. This castle has stood. This castle stands. And the family will continue to do what they can to protect those in their care. This castle is ours. And the figure puts their hand in the air again, reaching up, and then hesitates. She says, "Those fated daggers of yours will be lodged in your own backs sooner than they are in ours. You should look to your own." And then she says, "The web is wide."
And I'll remove every star from the sky.
I need to talk to you right now.
Just us?
Then I think we should go inside.
Should we do one of the towers rather than sort of like all the way down so we at least still maintain some sort of level of vantage point and we're still nearby these guys?
I'd say with the 5 brothers up there, there's already enough people on the towers.
You got up here quick, and therefore it would stand to reason that if a full frontal attack was going to happen, you'd have more than enough time to get up and repel any attack.
Excuse us for 1 second.
Kellen says, no, you've got to do it.
It's just they said something and we just need to just one.
Yeah. Can we talk?
Sounds like we need to.
Yeah.
Where do you take them to, Dolly?
Somewhere, I think, private. Maybe still outside, away from anywhere else that can hear.
So, there's a stable block.
I imagine this whole time the bag of holding is still on her back. I don't think she's gotten rid of it this entire time. She hasn't let it out of her sight. She's been thinking loudly this whole time. Eyes are going from one brother to another, to people milling around, making plans, to Endellion, to Kellness, to Radian. Web is wide. Takes the bag off her shoulders. Good for the web. Drops it. I'm not gonna do this. I can't do this.
Can't do what, Dolly?
The web and the gloom. Their interests are aligned.
I knew it.
I think after everything we've seen and done so far, I guess that makes perfect sense.
Those supplies.
They is for the Gloom.
Mm-hmm. I was given orders. What about it? I did.
Spider Prince is persuasive.
No, I'm just interested in looking out for myself. I was. But we've seen too many people get hurt. You guys have put yourselves on the line for me one too many times for me to be able to turn my back on that now. I've seen the things that your family do for other people. I don't want to be a fly anymore. I want to do the right thing for once in my life.
You help protect my family. You won't ever be alone again. My family will always welcome you as one of us. If you want a home here, if you want a family here, if you want friends here.
Don't care about any of that. I just don't want people to get hurt anymore.
Then I've got a feeling that stopping the Gloom is going to be the best way that we can protect people that we love.
We're all going to be hunted down for this. I hope you understand that. All of us.
I think the web was going to get us one way or another. May as well blaze of glory around it in the meantime.
I have been hunting the web. They may as well hunt me back.
The web has promised information on I's tribe. But I has not seen anything yet that says the web will do so. And the web has not been tribe to I. Tribe is what you makes it.
Okay. Then, let's be tribe. There's no going back from this now.
Yeah, fuck the web.
Yes. With a big stick.
I love you, Cockle.
And with the fires still burning beyond the walls, the 5 of you in the stable, flies no more. That's where we'll end our session. So, thank you so much for joining us for this latest episode of Our Adventures in the World of Reliquiae. We're going to be hopping over to do our action surge. There's a lot to unpack. All friends in the end. If you'd like to watch that action surge, our post show, it will be out next week. Or if you can't wait that long, you can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/natural6, and you can join us and have access to it now, right now. It'll be there right now. There's also a ton of other cool stuff. Check it out. And I'm very excited because in real time tomorrow we get to do this all again. But we will see you very soon for more adventures in the world of Reliquiae. Bye, everybody!
Fuck the web.